Packing your bag for race day, this is a two-pronged approach, because what you need at the bottom of the bag, what you need to pack first, is what you'll want to find in it when it's handed back to you from security at the end of the event. What you want at the top of the bag is the stuff that you'll need and want from having left home until you reach the start line and during the race itself, stuff you'll kind of want on you, more immediate things. The most important thing you're going to want at the end of the race is some big, comfy, cozy clothes. You don't want to be trying to fit yourself into sort of normal, smart clothes. You just want like something you've nicked off your dad or your brother or your boyfriend or whatever, or just bought giant of. So you want quite a lot of that. You don't, just trust me, you're not going to, no frocks. Similarly, when you reach the finish line, you're going to want to take your shoes and socks off, and you're not probably going to want to walk around in public barefoot. Your feet will be boiling hot, and they'll be probably quite a lot bigger than they normally are. So flip-flops are a kind of favourite of mine. But also, as soon as you can bear it, if you can get to a shower or wipe your feet or whatever, compression socks are fantastic for after a run. These are from Lidl. They're an absolute favourite of mine, and they're really, really wonderful. They keep your kind of muscles held in, and they really help with the pain the next day. They're absolutely gorgeous. Speaking of getting yourself clean, you want to take some kind of loo roll or wipes. You're usually given them, especially at bigger events, in your goodie bag, but really only 2 or 3. And you don't want to be the person that doesn't have them while everyone else is kind of like dousing their neck and under their arms, confidently cleaning themselves up. Just take them. You don't have to carry them anywhere. You know, that will be done for you on a truck or whatever. Just have some on you. Also want to have Tampax with you. It doesn't matter if you think you're going to need them or not. Sometimes running can mess with your cycle anyway, so you may unexpectedly need them. You also don't want to be the girl that's asked by another woman, do you have any Tampax, and goes, oh no, sorry, I didn't think of that. You want to be the yes person if someone asks you. What you're going to feel at the end of a marathon or any kind of long race is really, really, really sick of sugary foods. They will give you glucose drinks, and you probably will have taken glucose en route of your own anyway. So you'll have horrible, horrible sugary taste in your mouth, kind of the back of your throat really kind of. So if you can, and again, this is something you might get given, but you can't ever rely on, you never know for sure what's going to be given to you at the end. It's usually some nuts and things like that. But take some kind of sour, kind of savoury food, some quite solid and chewy, some almonds, a banana, some oatcake, something like that will kind of absorb the ghastly sort of sticky feeling that you'll have from having had all that glucose while you are en route. Really, really importantly, I have done this. Don't forget your house keys. There is nothing more painful than getting to the finish line of a long race or a marathon, getting to your home and then not being able to access it because you were so frozen with nerves when you left the house that you just thought you wouldn't bring them. Similarly, bring your phone. Even if you don't like to listen to music and it's not what you use to listen to music, it's useful. It's one of those things, even if you don't want to use it, and at the end of particularly the London Marathon, it gets a bit kind of like New Year's Eve on 1999 vibe, where it just gets very, very, very full networks. But have it. Take it. You'll end up wanting it, even if you just lend it to someone for a second. This section is what you want to have in your bag when you leave home, what you'll want with you until you hit the start line. You're going to want to keep sipping some water. You'll be given tons by the end of the race and during the race, but you're going to want some on you, if only to stop me from having such a terrifying dry mouth, rigid with terror. You are going to want to remember your sports watch or whatever kind of device you use. Some people use on their phone an app, some people have it on their wrist. Either way, don't forget it. Glucose. This is my kind of preferred way of getting energy into me. When my dad was running in the 80s, he used to have a sort of little Lucozade pellets, which was sort of really chalky, and we used to sometimes sneak off and eat them and go nuts for the rest of the afternoon. I like to think I've grown out of that, but actually here are my sport beans. They are, to me, the most easily digestible way. Lots of different brands do them. There is a sort of kind of variety of different flavours and things. They all do the same thing, which is they give you a boost of instant energy by kind of putting Lucozade into your system without you having to have the faff of digesting it like you would with an oatcake, which releases its energy very slowly. I don't personally like the gels because you can't have a bit and then a bit more, you squeeze it and then it's all over everywhere and that's it, it's over. Whereas you can kind of have the sports beans, I tend to decant them into a kind of clear plastic bag, and you can kind of have 2 or 3 every couple of miles, or you can just have a big burst of them, should you want to. Vaseline or some kind of petroleum jelly 8-hour cream type thing. You want to put it round your rib cage, over where your bra straps go, and all over your feet. I don't even generally use a pretty little tin like this. I tend to kind of have an old Tupperware or something, that an old piece of makeup that's been through the dishwasher is, and I scoop it out and then usually bin the container before the start line. But it will keep you from getting blisters, and in the case of your feet, it will kind of give you a lovely moisturising treat while you're running. A biro, super important. No one ever has a biro. There's always one person with a queue of 8 people waiting. This is for if you forget, which a lot of the time you will, to put your next of kin details and everything on the back of your race number, which will go here. You don't want to not fill that in, because if something happens to you, people need to be notified. And you also don't want to fill it in with a kind of ballpoint pen, which will smear all over your beloved running top, which you've kind of spent ages choosing. It's disgusting, and obviously it's happened to me. Speaking of running numbers, don't forget that. I don't have mine yet, but don't forget it. Safety pins, just buy a bag and staple it to the inside of your sports bag. You're going to run a few more races after this one. You need to have 4 safety pins. There's technology, they still even used it in the Olympics. The technology has not been invented for not using 4 safety pins to get a number onto your tummy. I don't know when anyone's going to get onto that, but feel free. This is your charity vest, which you will want to have kind of either over what you're running in or alone. And then this is kind of really baggy, old, second-hand. The most sensible thing you can do, especially if it's going to be bad weather, before a marathon, is go to a charity shop the week before and just spend £2 or £3 on really, really gross, flappy tracksuit bottoms, or an old sweatshirt or whatever, man size, any kind of too big, loose size, that you can then wear until the very, very, very last minute. Because if it's chilly, it's going to be early in the morning, you'll want to have that warmth. And you can literally fling it to one side or the other. Don't put it where other people are running. And it will feel incredibly profligate when you do this, and you'll feel kind of slightly mortified that you've just thrown some clothes on the floor. But most big races are equipped for this, and they know that people do it, and there's a designated charity that then picks all the clothes back up, washes them, and sends them on to another kind of homeless charity or whatever. So you spending £2 or £3 is really, really worth it for that hour that you could spend shivering, and you don't need to worry about carrying it around or finding somewhere to put it afterwards. They will deal with that. If it's raining on top of this, you're going to need another of my brilliant dad tips. I thought it was a really cruel April Fool's trick when he told me this originally, but you need a bin bag, that sort of silver linings look. It is, you need to kind of use the bottom, chop a hole in the top of your head and pop it over you, so it keeps your torso and tops of your legs dry and a bit warmer. It really, really, really works, and you will feel so mad when you pack it in your bag the night before, because it's just a really bizarre thing to do in a world where we have coats. But you will see several other runners doing it if it's raining, and you'll immediately feel like you're super cool for having worked it out. I say super cool within reason. The final thing that you might want to carry with you, unless you have, like me, ridiculous trinkets that you stick into pockets. Last time I did a marathon, I carried a clothes peg with me because someone I loved gave it to me. Anyway, you might want some painkillers. They won't give you these. The St John's Ambulance do all kinds of dabbing and mopping of you, but they won't give you painkillers, and it's sort of, legal, and allergies and things like that. So some ibuprofen is great, and obviously you don't want to carry the whole sheet. So cut some off, but don't do, obviously, what I've also done, and just cut it like that and go, oh great, I've got my 2 painkillers, and pop it in your pocket, because what you will do is spend several hours with a really pointy piece of plastic digging into you. What you need to do is sort of make it all nice and bespoke and curve the corners. I've even used a nail file in the past to create my perfect ibuprofen pod, but I have not been jabbed by plastic since. So this is my marathon kit bag, or also tons of old plastic bags for if things get wet as well. So that's what you want to have with you until the start line, fully disposable. And this is what you really, really don't want to dispose of and have at the finish line, when you will be greeted like a hero.